Yes.
everyone. Yeah, okay. Welcome to our carbon neutrality and sustainability track. So right now we have a keynote by Luca Ferraris, product manager PLM at Aptos, on fashion sustainability, exploring the new needs for CSR. Over to you, Luca.
Thank you, Jed. Thank you so much. Okay, so thank you everyone to be here. Hello. Today, what I want to do is to share with you some insights about the sustainability, a very important argument that touch everyone. And in particular, what I want to share with you is some insights about how consumers perceive now this argument and how this is changing and how companies think to manage it, and in particular, which are the impacts that this can have on the classical corporate and social responsibility processes. I want also to identify how technology can be helpful in manage the complexity that can arise in the transition to a management of the sustainability in our process. So first of all, let me introduce this. This is really important. We need to be aware of the fact that fashion have a big impact on the environment, in particular on sustainability. This is mainly due to the incredibly big number of garments that year by year are created. And obviously, a so large amount of products can create a big impact in terms of waste, can create a big impact in terms of pollution. Quite incredible if compared with, the global pollution that is created. Fashion have an important effect on it, and we need to be aware of it. In particular, because what happens is that now the consumers are more and more aware of it. You know, from this analysis of McKinsey, we can say that in this moment, 3 on 5 consumers say that the environmental impact is important for them. And this is changing the habits with which they do shopping. So for a company now, the sustainability is not only a matter of responsibility, is also a matter to answer to a request that came from the consumer themselves. So we say that consumers are now more aware of it, and this is particularly true for a generation of people, the so-called Gen Z. These people, young, not too young, in fact, they are really interested in sustainability. In a study done by Forbes, this generation has been identified as the sustainable generation due to the interest that they expose for the sustainable garment, sustainable accessories in general in their shopping activities when they look at the collection. And it's not only a matter to be interested, they are ready to pay even more to buy an item, a garment, something from fashion, if they can see that it's clearly sustainable. The word clearly is something that is changing day by day because it requires that the company that use, for example, an eco-friendly label should certify that this is true. Someone has been touched by the phenomenon known as greenwashing, and so Gen Z is particularly interested to the authenticity of the declaration about sustainability. So if they are ready to pay more, if they are looking for something that is really sustainable, it's also true that they are really focused on the certification, the fact that the sentences that are wrote on about the garments are true. And this has been clearly stated in multiple researches. Here is one from McKinsey in which we have the clear affirmation that people want to, that the companies are responsible for the sustainability. But there are other researches, for example, one from the last year from a company that was specifically oriented to this kind of survey, in which the people, the 75% of the people that answer to the questionnaire say that if they see that the brand is not authentic in their approach to the sustainability, they are ready to raise a red flag. So from one side is a very interesting approach of this consumer. From the other, needs to be carefully managed in order to avoid the risk to have some bad feedback from them. So these are the reasons because the companies are taking seriously the sustainability in their program, in particular in their program for the extension of the corporate and social responsibility. The idea is that if before the CSR was mainly focused on the certification of the supplier in order to check the condition of work, in order to check that they were compliant with the code of conduct on the company, now the need is to expand it to all the actors, including logistics, anyone that is working with a company, and also to all the details about the products that is created. Obviously, this requires some transformation, for sure an improvement in the integration of suppliers and the exchange of information. And so what we can at this point wondering is from the point of view of the company, how is perceived sustainability? Well, there is this research for McKinsey that I think clarify it very well. From one side is considered as a great opportunity because the brand have the opportunity to completely differentiate their approach compared with the others. And in this moment, there is still space to say something new, something different, to identify our products as different because more careful about sustainability. From the other side, there are challenges. There are challenges because this certification can be complicated, should be addressed in the right way. There is some uncertainty behind. So for sure, fashion considers this as one of the most important area of investment at which to think, but also in these two points of view, a great opportunity and also a great challenge. Okay, so if we say companies are ready to invest there, are ready to think about it, there are programs in progress. So the point is, which are these programs? Where the companies are thinking to work in order to certify their approach to the sustainability. Well, here are more or less a list, not complete, but quite comprehensive of the most part of the actions that are now in progress. For sure, there is more focus on the way in which raw materials are selected. Raw material is one of the most important cause of impact. So the selection of a raw material that is clearly sustainable is one important step. Then there is all the logistic behind the transportation that needs to be kept into account. There is an approach that tries to focalize the product mix to in a more clear way, not to create many items very cheap, maybe a little more expensive, but very focused on our customer. In this way, we can reduce the overproduction, we can reduce the waste. And there is another initiative that is currently performed mainly by some pioneering company, that is the recycling. Obviously, the recycling can be just a campaign of recycling in which we receive back the products, but can also be more enhanced. There are interesting way in which this can be managed. The recycling can be a pure recycling or can be a second-hand product that is refurbished by the company. And this is an interesting area. And honestly, we expect that this can create a next disruption because we perceive that in a very quick way, consumers start to consider a second hand, obviously managed by a company, is an interesting approach to the sustainability. So it's a sort of new way to consider a collection. And it's interesting that this has been managed in some situation by big brand in fast fashion. So exactly the companies that start a continuous renovation and now created this new approach to the second life of the garments. In any case, there is an important things that we need to consider. Whatever is the program that the company want to apply, the stronger integration of the partners is essential, is definitely an important milestone. The reason is that if I want to create an eco-friendly label, I need to certify a number of things, and not everything can be in my area. There is something that is outside. I need to buy raw material. I need to interact with a supplier. If I manage everything in a manual way, this could be very difficult, very expensive. Create a stronger integration in the processes is essential if you want to create the trust in your clients. The clients can trust that your brand is really eco-friendly. And this can be done only if the entire supply chain is well connected and collaborate on the sharing of the information for the certification. In any moment, we can transparently show that our product is based on a real sustainable approach. This is based on a general analysis done all over the world with many fashion companies. But now I want just to put a focus on the huge area that is the Asian Pacific market. Well, in this huge area, we had, if we compare the data, we had, this is based on our research done by Forrester, we had a slower approach. I mean, it means that the plans, the programs to adopt the sustainability were not so big and partially put on hold during the pandemic period. But it's clear that now things are changing and are changing very rapidly. And when we say rapidly in APAC, it can be very fast compared with the rest of the world. So this opportunity, as I said before, that is a worldwide opportunity, can be even more interesting in the huge area that is Asia Pacific. And obviously also the challenge, from the other hand, can be very important. Now, I will start to speak about the role of the technology. This is something that is particularly interesting for me. Before was an analysis of what analysts said, what survey identify, behavior of customers, what companies want to do. But in terms of technology, how this can support the change in the processes. Well, first of all, the corporate and social responsibility area is most probably the area that will take into account also the extension of the sustainability, but obviously in collaboration with many departments inside the company. Why this? Because the CSR is already the area in which they collect information about suppliers. They start to have a certification of the suppliers in order to identify the compliances with their internal code of conducts. And they had the need, even in the past, to certify in a transparent way that in any moment in which we select a supplier, we do it thinking about the fact that they are or not compliant with the internal code of conduct. So they probably already have the right mindset to approach the sustainability, and partially probably they already have some tool. In this area, what we ask to the technology is the capability to keep the compliance contract in the available with a clear management of the alert. So the system should in any moment demonstrate that the supplier covered by the right the right contract and are aligned with your internal code of conduct. But now, with the sustainability, we need to extend this concept to the aspects of each single product. So everything becomes more complex. Consider if in the past we were interested to track information about a single supplier, now we can be interested to each single items that is used to create our products. For example, raw materials, we said it before, this is probably the first area in which we are interested to keep a simple indicator or a set of indicators that identify what is the impact of the raw material on the environment. And we want to use it in order to link it to our products. So it's not just an information, it's a certified information for the raw materials. And we can extend it to the various components. We need to maybe consider all the manufacturing operations that are required to create the products. We need to consider the transportation. And all these steps, in theory, should be or could be attached to an indicator. Technology here have a very important goal. Should create a bridge among the information that the supplier is capable to collect internally and certify internally about their raw material, their process, their transportation method, with you, with the companies that are interested to capture it and assign it in a certified way to the internal process for product development and production. And then the same technology, the same system should be capable to create, on the base of this single information, a sort of summary, a sort of a synthetic indicator that identifies what is the impact. Everything could be summarized in a simple eco-label that, in as simple as possible way, identify the level of sustainability of a garment. But even most important, you should be able in any moment to demonstrate it. In this way, the trust with the consumer can be increased, and the consumer will be interested to continue to buy a brand or products from a brand that is capable to demonstrate at this level of quality the certification. So at this point, the last, I may say, the last recommendation is that when you consider the technology that can support your process change in order to extend your possibility to track and demonstrate the sustainability approach, when you select this product or this set of products, what is important in our opinion is to consider the fact that products should be help you from the very early stages of the collection development to the last point when you sell your product or when you take back the product in a recycle program, if you have the second life of the product. So the idea is that the system should give you the possibility to follow all the steps. When you start to think to a collection and you imagine the targets, you need to think already if these targets in terms of sustainability are in agreement with your customers. When you start the development of your products, you need to consider all the sustainable information for raw material, transportation, whatever you have in connection with your supplier. The system should be able to automatically capture them and give you in any moment a dashboard that in a synthetic way give you the possibility to understand if the goal that you identified in the first step are satisfied by the current collection and put in continuous check targets and actual result. And this should be part of the final eco label that you put on your garment. Your customer should be able to check that all the steps that you do, that all this effort that you use there is really valuable and is part of the cost that is the right compensation for this result. And that's it.
All right. Thank you, Luca, for that great presentation. Again, if you have any questions for Luca or his team, you can catch Luca over at the Aptos booth. We're at the booth section, and they'd be more than happy to assist you. Thanks again, Luca.
Thank you so much, Jed. Bye bye. Thank you, everyone.
All right. That is a wrap for our carbon neutrality and sustainability track. See you all in the next one.